Fab. So welcome to our Cask update with Mackmyra. So I'm Danny at Still in Cask, and joining me today is Richard from Mackmyra. Thanks for zooming in, and we're going to cut straight to it. So we've got a cask sample here from the Mackmyra cask from Still in Cask, and Richard's going to tell us a little bit more about Mackmyra and a bit more about the liquid. Then we'll jump in and have a tasting, and then we'll tell you how you can get your hands on some. So yeah, Richard, tell us about Mackmyra.
Yeah. Well, we're Sweden's first single malt whiskey distillery. Started in 1999. The first spirit came off the still December the 18th, 1999, just in time for the turn of the millennium. A huge appetite for whiskey in Sweden, but no one had been making it up until we started. And our founders thought, right, there's an opportunity there to have something that's authentically Swedish, and and hopefully people in Sweden would enjoy. So started off in 99. I said about being authentically Swedish. They saw it as quite an important responsibility of theirs, having been the first single malt distillery in Sweden, to make sure that everything had a Swedish footprint. One of the ways they thought was one of the easier ways to sort of get towards that would be making sure that all of your ingredients are Swedish for a start. And I say one of the easier ways. There's actually there was a few more loopholes to jump through. Nobody in Sweden was malting peating any malted barley at the time, so they decided to do it themselves rather than sort of brought it in from overseas. And that was quite a lot of work, so maybe not quite easy there. But in the cask that we've got that we'll be talking about in a moment, that is unpeated. So one could argue the easier side of what we do. We distill now. I think anyone that's heard about us before may well have heard about our Gravity Distillery, which is where we produce everything, have done since 2011, which is a 35-meter tall vertical distillery. So instead of having a traditional horizontal fashion distillery, pumping things from one room to the next, we take our malted barley to the sixth of 7 floors, and then each floor on the way down is the next stage of the production process. So using gravity instead of energy pumping things, and lots of heat exchanges and some real geeky things here and there, so that nothing gets no energy is wasted. Because as well as being Swedish, one of the founding principles was sustainability, which is a huge thing for us, really, really important thing. And there's so much stuff sort of company-wide, top to bottom, to back that up, as well as it's a great
distillery to get geeky about process with. It's really exciting to read into.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then we do, it's like a new, really modern style distillery, but everything is done, it's single malt the traditional way, but sort of done in a sort of, in a sustainable facility and things as well. And, we're trying to create flavor the whole time as well. So really, we're like throughout the process, not just waiting on casks at the end. So the new make spirit we've got is really, really high quality, really good flavoursome stuff, very long fermentation times. Nice sort of slow boils in the still, slow distillation of things as well. So yeah, we've got as well as the Gravity Distillery. I think one of the other things that people may know us for, or at least would be interested, I reckon, in hearing about, would be the Bodas mines. Have we talked about that before, Danny? You and I?
Yeah, I've been filled on it, but it's super interesting.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, 50 meters below ground in an old, unused iron ore mine that we've converted into being our warehouse, basically. So we keep 99% of our whiskey is stored away down there. 50 meters underground with a big mountain on top of it. James Bond sort of like layer-looking entrance into it, driving down a big, slanting. 5 to 7 degrees Celsius at all times, 99% humidity. So there's lots of real geeky things to talk about, the way that things mature down there as well, but we're able to sort of keep control a bit more over the climate and keep it out of the bitter Swedish cold. As we know, warmth and cold can affect sort of maturation in different ways, make it a bit quicker or longer. And where we have it, keeps it out of what are very cold Swedish winters. Angela D'Orazio is probably the third thing that people may have heard of before, but she's our master blender. We call her our chief nose officer. She's in charge of everything that we release, all the bottled expressions, as well as looking after quality control for the single cask programs that we have as well. Second woman to be in the Whiskey Magazine Hall of Fame, cut her teeth under Jim McEwen of Bamor and Bruichladdich. So, quite a venerable person to have as your mentor as well. And she's been with us since 2004, creating everything as we go. A few different ranges that you can buy by the bottle, and then a small number of, highly selective single casks that we do as well, which is probably quite a good place to sort of segue maybe into the next part.
Yeah, into some liquid. We could talk for days about Mackmyra, and we will as we continue to do these updates, and we'll share more information about the amazing distillery. But those sort of essences of the essence of Sweden and understanding Swedish sort of whiskey from a raw materials perspective, and then that story that it is, is aged in that amazing facility. I've got friends that have visited, and I've not visited yet, but it's so high on my list to come and see it.
Let me know if you did. I'll make sure you're looked after. And anyone watching this as well that wants to go over, they are a really, really, really friendly bunch at the distillery. And they do like barbecue classes every Thursday, where lots of people from the local town come to do them. And we're situated about an hour and a half north of Stockholm, for anyone that sort of knows Sweden at all.
Oh, very cool, and that's super accessible. So yeah, well worth a visit. But yeah, let's talk about a liquid. So we're here to do a cask update. So for all the people that have got cask shares or those that want cask shares, what we do is we regularly provide these cask updates where we taste the liquid and we talk about how the liquid's maturing, how that relationship between the whiskey and the wood, and basically give people a bit of a spoiler, a bit of an insight into how their whiskey is going to be when they finally get their hands on it. So what is this particular liquid?
So yeah, this is I'll just say, like, spoiler, I'm biased because I love this. I chose this cask for the program, and this is it's right up my street. But so this is currently an 8-year-old elegant recipe, we call our spirit, that's not peated, elegant recipe, virgin American oak cask. So I think filled January 2013. I'm sure we've got the date of that somewhere. It's slipped my mind for the moment. It'll come back to me in a second. But yeah, January 2013, filled into a 200 litre virgin American oak cask. We get our casks from anyone who sort of geeks out there that want to know all the detail about where things come from the what was once called the Bluegrass Cooperage, now the Brown-Forman Cooperage in the States. They make casks for everyone from Jack Daniels to Woodford Reserve, and I think from time to time Heaven Hill and places like that as well. So yeah, some really, really good sort of quality craftsmanship goes into it. And yeah, for me, our spirit always does so well in American oak. I don't think I've ever tried a bad one. I know that, is there a bad whiskey? We all like our own thing, of course, but I've never tried one that I didn't at least quite like. And this one for me, I had 3 or 4 different casks that I was looking at that I narrowed down to at the time of choosing, and this one just ticked all of the boxes. So I thought, amazing. The first cast that we've done with you guys, and hopefully lots of people end up getting a share and being able to try this when it's bottled next year. But I thought we wanted it to be something good, something that we would believe in ourselves, and that we hope people will get excited about being able to try. So this one was quite a laborious, I would say, not difficult, for not hard work perhaps, and I enjoyed it, but quite a lot of thought and time went into selecting this one. But yeah, you've got it there in front of you. How's it strike?
It's coming out as real fresh for something that's already had those 8 years on it. There's a lot of bright citrus notes. It's quite a bright sort of orangey note, but then that real sort of honey, sort of almost there's something confectiony, so not quite desserty, but biscuity, sort of toffee that I'm getting.
I could get into that. So I had, when I did my original notes for it, I had like shortbread, sort of like a sweet biscuit sort of note to it, and I had a citrusy marzipan. I don't get a huge amount of vanilla, which I was expecting to get quite a lot of, being 8 years in a virgin American oak cask. For me, with a drop of water, I think vanilla sort of comes out to play a little bit more. But I think I drink this quite happily without adding any drops to it. I tend to add a drop or two just to see how things change. I like to explore and have a bit of fun. But yeah, this for me, as it is, honeyed fruits, I think it's in there, sort of, honeyed, sort of glazed fruits, and maybe not a bit of sort of like something foresty. I couldn't quite put a word to it, a name to it before when I had it, but I get like a sort of a pine foresty vibe.
There's certainly wood. There's certainly that relationship with the wood has certainly been really strong. It's nice that the new maker stood up to all of that sweet American, and it's brought through all those interesting fruit characteristics. But there's certainly that sort of woody note that you're getting that just seems really natural, that piney note and that sort of woody, almost sandalwoody note that seems like I like it when you get authentic wood.
Yeah. So it would like there's woodiness to it without it being sort of too wooded, overcooked. I think it's still got a bit of its journey left to go. So I was in sort of, I'll confess, sort of two minds when it came to choose this, because part of me would bottle this sort of as it is now quite happily, but obviously we're looking to bottle this next year. So I had to sort of base it on, because I've had the good fortune of being able to try quite a few of our 200 litre casks, virgin American oak stuff from anywhere between 7 and 12 and a half years old. And for me, that sweet spot is around sort of 9, 10 in the middle. I've had good ones younger, I've had good ones older, but where it works for me the best more often than not is sort of that 9, 10 age. So given that we're going to be bottling this at somewhere like 9.5 years old, I thought this, as it is now, I'd probably just have this in a bottle and be happy. But I think that with a little bit more time in the cask, this one should be in that sort of same league as the others that I've had. It feels like it's on the way to it. You know, like a little bit more time in the glass to sort of round things off a little bit, because it feels quite nice and balanced. I know, you know, I've had this on the palate already. We haven't moved to it now. It feels quite nice and balanced as it is. But I know that a little bit more, 6 months, 12 months, maybe more, whatever it is in the cask, this should be singing and dancing. But I'll say, yeah, score.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fun. That's got a lot of interesting sort of characteristics that carries through from that nose. That citrusy note gets almost warmer as it interacts with those sweet notes, and you get that sort of rich orangey note coming through, along with a lot of that biscuit. You know, it's certainly representative of the nose.
Yeah, that's quite an important thing for me sometimes. I don't mind if I have something that's got a brilliant nose and a brilliant palate, but there's no sort of connection between the two. I can be sort of happy about that, but I like it more when there's a bit of a journey, a smoother connection between nose, palate, finish for me. And this has definitely got it. And I'm glad that you're saying the same sort of thing, because it's drawing through. I'm finding lots on the palate that I find on the nose. But then, like, you know, you said it's sort of orangey a moment ago. It's like a caramelized orange, I think.
Yeah, there's sweet notes in there but not quite like sort of into marmalade, but not quite. It's not got that as much of that bitter note. So it's just like a sweet caramelized orange almost.
Yeah. Did you say marmalade? So I think on my original notes for this, I think I said something like electric marmalade, but not quite, because I've never really liked marmalade as it is. I've never been a marmalade on toast man or a sandwich or whatever. But there's a marmalade-y vibe to this that actually like has made me think, you know, I might actually try marmalade. Maybe now that I'm in my mid-30s, marmalade is you know, it's the time for me to get into having marmalade. And I think, yeah, this is definitely something putting above. What about texture for you? Because I find it's got a really like buttery, sort of quite like viscous texture, and that's one of the most important things for me when I'm having a whiskey. That's as important as whatever the nose or the palate flavors are. Is there, what's the texture like? Is it too watery? Is it thick? This has got that buttery sort of smoothness, softness. Like,
yeah, so. and that I love. I mean, everyone loves a buttery whiskey, and but when that buttery plays in with those flavors that you associate with buttery as well, when you start to get those toffee notes and those biscuit notes playing with the buttery texture, is a real happy place.
Toffee notes, yeah. I think toffee note. There was something in it that sort of reminds me of these old sweets we used to get at the tuck shop at school, like toffos or something. They came in like a little packet, and you popped them out at the end, I think. And
were these individually wrapped in white?
I think, yeah. If what I'm remembering is those things, because I had a bit of it, and I thought, oh, that it took me back to something, but I couldn't do it for a while, so I had another taste and another taste, and then one for luck, and then I think I found it. Yeah, toffos, yeah. It's
still going as well. There's a great carry on that finish. I know you get that a lot with viscosity and with a decent ABV, but it's carrying a lot and almost bringing it back round to the barrel. You start to get that piney note that you picked up on the nose starts to come back through the finish. Something almost not floral woody, but that, and not quite back to sandalwood, but certainly something piney.
So our spirit character, if you took our new make spirit, to sort of just describe it in sort of quite sort of simple terms rather than going into all the intricacies of it. I always say like orchard fruits, sort of warm, gentle spices, and then like a herbal, sort of an earthy herbal undertone, just sort of balancing some of those slightly sweeter, slightly more sort of spicy notes and bringing it sort of together. So that piney, that sort of walking pine forest sort of thing to it. It's probably a little bit to do with our spirit character being present still. So it's not just disappeared into the wood. It's not just, you know, been taken over by the American oak. There's still Mackmyra spirit character there. And this for me has got like this you can I could drink this and tell it was a Mackmyra. You know, I drink enough of it to sort of have a good like base for it, but this is definitely recognizable as a Mackmyra whiskey, but with sort of, you know, very different notes to what you'd expect from some of our core bottles or any of our seasonal or moment bottles you might have had, because this is a far less adulterated version, being from, you know, from a single cask. One thing, as I was chewing on things there, brown sugar, there's like a sweetness to it, but it's not, you know, it's not like a sugary. I'm a brown sugar, I appreciate sugar, but not like a, you know, like a sharp sweetness to it. The sweetness from the citrus to me is a bit of a dulled, very present but dulled sweetness, and the sugary part is definitely brown sugar. You know, something caramelized, anything caramelized. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it is
like marmalade for sure.
It is one hell of a dram. It is. So I'm really excited about it because I'm going to get to taste it again with you out of the cask down the line a little bit, and then I'm also really excited because I bought cask shares myself, so I'm going to get to enjoy this when it's bottled.
Very
as
nice.
Well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, thanks for taking us through the dram of it, and obviously, to say we could go on, and it's. I mean, it's so hard when you start drinking and tasting because we could be here for the next 3 days, but we need to cut to the chase of how people can get their hands on it. So
Danny, if, how does somebody get their hands on a cask share from Stilling Cask?
Good question. Let me see if I can have a quick screen share, and I will show you the way through. So we'll jump back to the homepage on my mouse. So jump onto stillingcask.com. And then we'll find it through browsing our available cask shares. So these are the amazing distilleries that we're currently working with, that we have casks from. And here is Mackmyra, and then into our available casks, the American Oak Elegant Recipe that we've been tasting and telling you about. There are 333 cask shares left available. These cask shares are 50 centilitres, and they're currently priced at £49. So for £49, you get to buy your cask share when this is ready to be bottled. So let's click through to check when that will be bottled. So here we have it, casked in January 2013, bottling in September 2022. So as you said, Richard, about 9.5 years, and you get that 50 centilitre bottle of cask strength, amazing whiskey, and yeah, you pay £49 now. And then there'll be a secondary bill that comes through with the taxes and the shipping. Our current estimate on that is £24.28. Obviously, we can't control if HMRC change the taxes or if shipping prices change slightly. So we always put that on there as an estimate. But yeah, when that time comes for that to be bottled, if you're lucky enough to own one of these shares, you'll get the bill for the rest, and then for your what does that work out at? 50, 70, 73.28 at the moment. Based on that would be your finished price, which for a 50 cl cask strength single cask 9-year-old from Mackmyra that tastes like that is pretty good going. Yeah,
that is, and this is one of the best single casks of ours that I've tried. Like, yeah, like hands down. I'm in for a cask, just so that, you know, anyone watching wonders. I'll probably go in for another 1 or 2, I think, by the time bottling comes from, as cash becomes available to me as well. So yeah, really looking forward to doing it. And I think if anyone doesn't know much about sort of how Stilling Cask works, what you guys doing, the way that you're doing it, blockchain and everything, I think is so good and secure, and I think just a really good way of doing like cask shares. I think it's yeah, I think you guys have got a really good model that you're working with. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks. That's really good to hear. And you know what, we are absolutely thrilled to have Mackmyra on the site. It's a distillery that I've been a huge fan of for years now, and it's a real honour that you guys will share your whiskey with our customers.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Ace, right? Well, I'll see you for the next one when we can taste it again in a few months' time and see how it's progressing and sort of continue that journey. And then hopefully at some point I'll see you in person.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, looking forward to that as well.
Fab. Thanks very much.
All right, cheers.